Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 394 of Xbox 2 podcast. I'm your host, Jez Corden, and you might be wondering, where the hell is Rand? Okay, so I think it's about time that we let you guys know what's actually going on with Rand. So Rand told me last week that he was okay with me letting you guys know exactly what's going on with Rand in his life and why, like, he hasn't been as active recently on Xbox 2 or on Xbox 2+1. Obviously, I'm streaming this live on Rand's channel right now, and any super chats or anything like that you do will go straight to Rand's channel as usual. But Rand's currently dealing with the death of a close relative in his family, so a very close relative in his family. So Rand's taken a step back for a little while to deal with all the logistics involved with regards to that. Send Rand your best wishes if you get chance to do so. But while Rand's out, I'll continue streaming on Rand's channel. We'll continue to do Xbox 2 podcasts as usual. The format of the shows will be a little bit different while I go solo. As you guys know, in the past, I haven't been like the best at doing solo shows. Usually when I solo stream, I'm playing a game or something like that. So it it's more like a traditional game stream. But podcasting solo, I'm gonna need you guys' help. So like you guys are the co-hosts this week. Um and maybe next week as well. But best wishes to Rand and Rand's family. And hopefully, we can get things back to normal as soon as possible. But that's what Rand's been dealing with at the moment. Anyways, the show must go on. So here we are with episode number 394 of the Xbox 2 podcast, and let's get rolling. First of all, I just want to do some quick housekeeping for our Patreon VIPs, and these are people on Patreon who subscribe on the higher tier. From I think Monday, so Monday the 12th of January, we're going to be running a 50% off deal for Patreon. I actually mentioned that last week, but Patreon wouldn't let me set up the sale until Monday. So I'm going to set it up again on Monday. So from Monday, the Patreon will be back on 50% off through January. I think we'll run it. I got some really cool guests lined up for Xbox 2+1, industry figures, also game devs and stuff like that. So if you like to get a behind the scenes look and things like that, and also the weekly Q&A thread, all that's through Patreon and Xbox 2+1. You get it a week early and things like that. So these are the VIPs. I want to shout out Adam Bartolo, Army Dude 52C, Acer T and Madison, who recently won a big competition on the Discord, by the way. Battered Haddock, Briggs Country, Bright Tundra 1, Silas, Discarded Caboose, Fantasticals, Foreign Object, Glenn, Governor Grimm, Mike Zero, In the Machine, James Moore, James Wazo, Justin Duell, Katriox, Lazar Wolf, Patrock, Frosty, Randolph 419, RS Donks, Scarcely Relevant, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, Tricks Off a Tray, Woggerman, and Wolfgang KPZ, sorry, if you're American. Thank you so much for all your support. And like I said, any super chats here today will go straight to Rand as usual. Speaking of super chats, we got €5.99 from Eris. Thanks for that. Please tell me Fable has character customization. This is a big question, right? Character customization in Fable, and obviously one of the topics today is the January Developer Direct, which we know Fable is going to be a big thing there. The three things that have been announced for January Direct, which I suppose we'll talk about first, is Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and also, what's it called now? Beast of Reincarnation from Game Freak, which is, it looks like an action RPG kind of thing. We'll go over that more in a minute, but one, I do get this question a lot. Will Fable have character customization? The truth is, I don't know. I've heard conflicting reports on this. Will it have character customization? Won't it have character customization? Am I muted? Will it have character customization? Won't it have character customization? I don't know. But usually it lets you at least pick your gender. So maybe we'll see a reveal of the male protagonist. But so far, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. So we'll see. We'll see, right? We've also got Jonas the Dad, member for 7 months. Happy New Year's all. Looking forward to Xbox running 2026. PS gets what? 2 games that will play themselves. Let's go. Well, that's a take. um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So January Developer Direct is obviously the big topic of the week. We've got a ton of rumors to get through as well this week, from my own reporting, for better or worse. And also rumors that there's actually going to be more than 3 games announced. So one of the things I put in my report was I heard that there was going to be another game there and I actually wrote in the report something like from one of Microsoft's smaller, more intrepid studios, and I was kind of like looking forward to see what they've been baking, right? And I think some other outlets reported on it as well today, about the potential of there being more than Fable, Forza, and Beast of Reincarnation. I've heard that there is going to be, and I don't know how true this is, but Shinobi also corroborated that there was going to be more games there on Reset Era. And I didn't report it outright because I wasn't super confident of the sourcing. So I just thought, you know what, I'll throw it in there as a tease / kind of prediction thing. And one of the things that you bake is pottery in a kiln, and some of you guys who've been following Xbox Studios very closely, you'll know that Double Fine has been working on a project called Kiln, and there's actually there's a page about it on Double Fine's website, and they mentioned it previously in one of their documentaries, I think, as well. So it does sound like Kiln could be one of the secret games at the January Developer Direct. One thing I do know is that it's close to being ready, and it's quite popular internally. From what I understand about Kiln is you make clay fighters in a kiln and bake them into sort of like clay fighters, and then you make them fight each other like a brawler. The impression I get is that it's going to be sort of like a physics kind of brawler, similar to games like Fall Guys or Gang Beasts, and it's kind of like gunning for that viral multiplayer kind of thing. It sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like it'll be a fun party game. We'll see how unique and crazy and in depth it is, but Double Fine's kind of renowned now for these kind of unique kind of experiences. So that's it'll be interesting to see what that's like, because I don't know much about it beyond what's already out there from their documentary and stuff like that. We've already got some super chats here from Nitram Nictit with is that Norwegian krona? 252 Norwegian krona. Rand, take time to just be hard. Yeah, thanks for that, buddy. And we've got Jesse from Xbox Era. Few things as fun as Nick being wrong. Both about Fable missing 2026 and Square Enix being the developer direct. Yeah. So I don't know. We're still in 2026. So, and game development can be turbulent. Game development can be turbulent, right? So who knows? Maybe Fable will miss 2026. I haven't heard that it will, but game development can be fractured and fractious and crazy, right? We don't know what'll happen with Fable. So I wouldn't kite off Nick yet, but if Fable does launch and gets a launch date and all that stuff next week, maybe you can run some victory laps around Nick at that point. Square Enix being a development direct, as well as that, I think there is still potential for Square Enix to be a development direct, but like maybe in just sort of like a transition, like they transition from one game to the next, and then there's like a very quick mention of the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming at Xbox. I don't think like what Square Enix has got coming in the near term warrants to have a deep dive. But Microsoft and Square have some kind of marketing partnership right now where Microsoft wants to build up its reputation for actually having the kind of JRPGs that they've notoriously lacked. And Square Enix has been contributing to that as well. They've had a lot of exclusive Xbox marketing beats. I don't know if you've seen some of this. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there is a small snippet of Square Enix at the Developer Direct, just a trailer or something like that. But yeah, don't victory lap Nick just yet. There might be something like that. Kamana Tong says, didn't VGC say there's another third-party game there? I don't know, but VGC initially said there's going to be an indie game there, but then they backtracked and said it's actually going to be a first-party game after they saw Shinobi's messages, presumably, or maybe even heard about my reporting. So uh, I don't know what VGC's reporting suggests with regards to third party, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was more third party there. I think 3 games is like typically they do 4 games, right? And sometimes they've done 5 games. So 3 games would be low for this kind of event. So I expect it to be more than that. We'll see. We'll see, mate. What else we got here? We've got Web Dave with the 199. Thanks, buddy. Hit like for Jez. Are you going to LA in June? I don't know if I'm going to LA this year. Our travel budgets have been slashed, so if I go to LA, it won't be on. I won't be paying for it. Got no money. But I don't think Windows Central's got the budget to send me there. But maybe like one of our US writers will end up there. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. You know, it's a long time between now and June, right? So yeah, it does seem like there's going to be an extra game, the January Developer Direct. I don't know how you guys feel about Fable. Like, how excited are you? Like, tell me in chat, how excited are you guys for Fable right now? How excited are people for Forza Horizon 6? You know, you guys know I'm not big into racing games, but Forza Horizon is one of Microsoft's biggest sort of, at least for Xbox game studios, it's probably their crown jewel, right? It wasn't a game that they acquired. At least I don't think it was. They acquired Call of Duty, obviously, and Minecraft, and some of the other games that are very, very big. But Forza, for the most part, was homegrown, I think. At least if I'm remembering correctly. Obviously, they purchased Playground, but they funded the games and they funded the Forza IP and they grew the IP, you know, sort of from the ground up. So, you know, the same's true for Fable. Like, Fable's a homegrown franchise. Halo's kind of a homegrown franchise. Obviously, Bungie being third party, but they did fund it themselves, and also the producers were all Microsoft based. And then also you've got Gears as well, which again, Gears was built by a third party, but it was all Microsoft producers and Microsoft's money. So, I mean, you can kind of consider those to be homegrown, I would think. I think obviously Forza being in Japan, it's a setting that people have asked of Forza for a very long time. It's also a very diverse location. I don't think people realize just how big Japan is. Like, when you actually scale Japan onto like a map, it like spans most of Western Europe. Like, Japan is a huge country with a lot of diverse locations. Obviously, they've got those famous sort of downtown urban locations, which sort of like the setting for maybe street racing kind of gameplay. But then they've got very beautiful countrysides. They've got amazing coastlines. There's a lot of kind of locales that Japan can really celebrate the kind of racing that Forza is kind of famous for, right? So I do think like Japan as a setting is going to be really amazing. I just kind of wonder like what kind of innovations can they put on top of the game, you know, because there's only so much you can, in my head, as someone who isn't particularly creative, there's only so much you can do with racing as a genre before it starts feeling, I suppose, repetitive. Obviously, you're changing up the setting a lot, but are there any like innovations on top of that which makes it more than just a new setting, you know? So I suppose we'll find out some of that stuff. But I do think Fable is obviously going to be the headline act here. People want to see, I want to see, and I think Rand wants to see, and I think all you guys want to see, can Microsoft truly make a AAA banger, a Game of the Year contender? And I do think Fable will suffer from recency bias a little bit when it comes to the Game Awards, even if it is a banger. But can they actually make a game, an open world action RPG that stands toe to toe with the likes of The Witcher and all of those kind of games? Can they actually do that? You know, some people would argue that they've done it in the past, maybe. But in the modern era, it does feel like Microsoft has generally stuck to high quality AA games with regards to their first party. Obviously, like some of their acquisitions are able to deliver those kind of games, of course. but can they build one from first party? Like there was always this question about the initiative, for example. The initiative was set up to make these AAA bangers. They had like when they were set up initially, they had all these amazing, like really expensive, prolific developers, and then over the years they went away, and more went away, and then eventually it was just Daryl Gallagher and like some of the most of the original founders left, and then as we know, the whole studio's been shut down now, and Perfect Dark's been cancelled outright. So can Microsoft deliver that kind of game? That's kind of the question I want answered, and that's not. And this is as someone who I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of nostalgia for Fable as an IP, and I'm not big on games that are humoristic in tone, personally. Even though it's gonna be the British humor and, you know, I love Richard Ayoade, like, he's an amazing comedian, but at the same time, it's like, games that try to be funny often just come off as cringe to me. Maybe Fable will be different here. You know, I can't stand Borderlands for this reason. Like, I think Borderlands humor is just so cringe. And I know that's a hot take. I know some people love Borderlands, and I've got nothing against that whatsoever. I'm just talking about myself here. So I want to know, like, is the game actually going to be fun? Is it actually going to be well written? Is it actually going to play well? Is it actually like going to be on that level that people kind of that level that has eluded Microsoft for a long time? I think, you know. And like some people in chat saying they're keeping their expectations low. The possibility of no character customization in Fable worries me, says Dr. Scotty. Lee G says Xbox needs a studio that can make something similar to GTA. You know, these are all like great questions, you know. And I did play the original Fable. I can very barely remember it. I did play on the original Xbox back in the day. I played through once, and I don't think I paid that much attention to it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm intrigued to see if they can deliver that tone. But like Playground has really scaled up to meet the challenge here. They've acquired a lot of developers from CD Projekt Red. I believe the combat designer from The Witcher 3 is working on Fable. So you know the combat's probably going to be pretty good. And then you've got like you do have like an all-star cast. Like Jabba in chat says, didn't they include British comedians? You've got Matt Berry and you've got Richard Ayoade, and they are both like legendary comedians. Matt Berry is currently in the Fallout TV show playing Cogsworth, or the Mr. Handy robot, not Cogsworth. I've been playing Fallout 4 a lot, but he plays the Mr. Handy robot, right? And he's hilarious in that. He's that guy who speaks with a very posh accent and stuff like that. So Matt Berry's going to be in there. So there's a lot of high flying talent in this game, which has probably contributed to its budget, for better or worse. But I think like if they really want to nail this game, I think they have to be willing to. They have to be willing to, delay it potentially. If it's not going to land super hard, if it's not finished or there's not enough content or something like that, I wouldn't be against them delaying it again. I know people hate delays, but I would rather they delay it even more and finally deliver the game that has eluded them. The sort of game of the year contender, than rush it out and then it be not hit its full potential. At least personally, But we'll see what happens. I'm very intrigued about Fable, even though like I don't know if it's going to be my kind of game. We've got another couple of super chats here. We've got I'm trying to keep up with the super chats because when I'm like solo hosting, if I don't keep up with them, I'm going to miss them. So I really want to keep up with these. And thanks to you guys for sending in super chats. Obviously, these goes to Rand. And if you're just joining us, I've let the chat know that the reason Rand hasn't been here for the last couple of weeks is because he's had a death in the family, very close relative. I don't know if Rand wants me to say which relative it is, but maybe he'll say himself when he comes back. But Rand's dealing with a lot of stuff right now. So, send him your best wishes and all that kind of stuff. I'll be manning the show solo for the next couple of weeks, maybe, while Rand gets everything in order. So I really appreciate you guys' support and your patience during this difficult time for Rand. Die Hard Eddie Edwards with 10 says, is Microsoft aware of how bad the Xbox app is, and when do you think we'll be able to choose other apps in the Xbox full screen experience? So I think you actually can choose other apps in the Xbox full screen experience, but the developers have to actually enable that, right? So I think the app One Game Launcher, I think you can use that in the full screen experience. But if a developer wants their app to be there, they have to actually do that. Like Steam and Valve have to actually make their app hook into that. It's not on Microsoft to do the work for Valve. If Valve wants that to work, they have to do it themselves, right? So it's a question for Valve, really. But there are apps today that use a full screen experience, One Game Launcher being one of them. And One Game Launcher is a lot faster than the Xbox app, and it does incorporate Steam and GOG and stuff like that. So if you want to check out an alternative full screen app, One Game Launcher is one to check out, right? We've also got Yuki KBH6038 with the Danish krona 45. Thank you very much. And shout out to Denmark. Hey, Jez, next Xbox question. Should we expect a next gen Xbox Series S successor, not OEM? I hope we'll get one. That's a great question, mate. And the answer to that is I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get a Series S successor from Microsoft. I think we are going to get an OEM Series S successor. I think Microsoft's going to let OEMs like Asus and Dell and stuff like that, those guys will command some of the low end and the super high end premium market for the next Xbox. Microsoft will make the sort of the baseline next gen Xbox, the one with the Xbox branding and that kind of thing. But the more affordable option and the super high end option, I think those will fall on OEMs. At least I think so. One thing I do know that we're getting out of Microsoft is an Xbox first party handheld. So maybe the first party handheld becomes the Xbox Series S successor. And maybe that'll be the device that you buy that's a little bit maybe cheaper than the full bore high-end premium 4K next gen Xbox. And then maybe there's a Series S successor handheld, which you can dock like a Steam Deck. Maybe that becomes a Series S successor. But I don't think we get in one from Microsoft, which I think personally is a shame. I think the Series S is unfairly treated by the media and, especially like developers that have optimized their games for the Xbox Series S. They are now finding that their games are already pre-optimized for the Nintendo Switch 2, for the Steam Deck, for the Z2 Extreme, for the Z2 non-extreme platforms. The 8 gigabytes of RAM, and especially in a universe where RAM is like increasingly expensive, I think it behooves developers to work on making their games optimized for lower end systems. For all those people who, maybe they didn't upgrade their computers before the RAM price glut, or maybe they just, play on a Steam Deck or play on a Switch or play on a handheld or play on an Xbox Series S. There is no reason why a game can't be optimized for the low end and the high end. There's been this rush on games that optimize for the high end first. And the problem is when you optimize for the high end first, it's very difficult, in my understanding from speaking to developers, it's very different to reverse that process. But if you develop for the low end first and then scale up, then you end up with games that are optimized. And there are so many games these days which aren't optimized. I was playing Oblivion Remastered. In fact, this is the footage that you're seeing on the video for whether you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube. This is my Oblivion Remastered footage. And obviously, this is done in Unreal Engine. And on Xbox Series X, this game is unplayable in quality mode. You have to play it in performance mode. If you play in quality mode, it stutters up the wazoo. And it's like that on PC as well. Like Unreal Engine just seems to have these optimization issues when developers target the high end first or something like that. And I've been trying to get Unreal Engine developers and Epic Games. I've been trying to get them to offer a statement on why so many of the games built on Unreal Engine are such stuttery and have become notorious for these stutters, these micro stutters and these traversal stutters and stuff like that. But they won't comment on it. It's really, really frustrating, but it's become a whole thing, right? So I do think there should be a Series S successor, even though it's probably not the most popular opinion in the world. But I think with the way RAM is right now, I think it would be better for developers to target those lower end devices. I don't know. Champagne Supernova with the 2. Thank you very much, buddy. Loved you on IRPJs. Cog fighting for his life. Yes, Cognito. It's always a great time on Iron Lord's podcast. Go and check those guys out if you haven't. But I was on Iron Lord's podcast last week and we were talking about how You know, Cognito drives a Range Rover. You know, he's not someone who would need a Series S. You know, Cog is someone who would buy a $2,000 Xbox if there was the option. You know, but nah, those guys are awesome, and they've always been huge supporters of us. I absolutely love ILP, so definitely check those guys out. They've also got a new show on Insider Gaming now, so check that out too. Silas, member for 26 months, says, is Blizzard updating the new user experience in the WoW expansion? And does it bother you that ran are such poor tasting games compared to you? Yes, it does bother me, actually. But they are updating the new user experience, but it's still terrible. It's still terrible. The new player experience in WoW is absolutely awful. Um, it's I've talked about it before. I don't want to talk about it again. I might write another article about it, but Blizzard just keeps sort of putting a band-aid or a plaster over a huge issue with the new player experience. It's kind of like Bungie, I think, and Destiny has this issue where there's so much content that they don't know how to organize some of that legacy content without doing a full-blown remake. I personally think they can't avoid doing a full-blown remake of the new player experience. They can't just like rush people into the end game. And I know they want to do that because rushing people into the end game is you know, how they make loads of money. But I think if you want to truly create those sticky users who will stay around for a long time, you have to have an absolutely stellar new player experience. And World of Warcraft, and frankly, many other legacy games do not have these great new player experiences because they prioritize the existing user base, right? There's like Destiny, I think, has this issue, and other games have this issue, but we'll see. We got Paris in the chat. RIP Xbox 2001 to 2026. News of Xbox's death have been greatly exaggerated, buddy. You'll see. You'll see. You'll all see. You maybe won't see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not counting out Xbox yet. One of the things that I do know that's coming very soon is a full revamp of the Xbox app for PC. Because one of the big issues with Xbox right now is that the Xbox app on PC is just it's bloated and it's laggy, or it's not bloated actually, but it feels like it is because it's so slow and it's so laggy. So they're sort of revamping it to I think to get rid of some of the web calls, which does make it slow. One of the issues with the Xbox PC app is just like when you open it, it calls so much data from the internet that even if you've got a really fast connection, it's just super laggy. But a lot of investments going towards improving that stuff now, and it needs to because that's the platform for the next Xbox, man. That is the platform for the next Xbox. But I think even if Xbox as an ecosystem struggles for the next couple of years, I think Xbox's like game slate is fantastic. You know, last year Xbox's game slate was fantastic. They put out so many games last year. How many like first party or second party kind of Xbox games did you guys play last year? You know, I played a ton of Xbox last year. I played like maybe more than ever on Xbox last year. And one thing I often hear from Xbox people is that playtime hours are up, even though hardware sales are down. So like the existing users they've got and the sort of small amount of users that come in, they're playing more. You know, and you can say that's due to things like Fortnite maybe and Call of Duty and all that kind of stuff. But there was just so much to play last year, man. There was so much to play, and there was so much that I missed out on playing. On Game Pass, on you know, even not on Game Pass. I've just put 6 days playtime into Fallout 4. I just put 6 days playtime into Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. I played that pretty much non-stop for the last couple of weeks, and I had an absolute blast, man. Solid Edu in chat says, I can't doom and gloom too much if I'm busy playing games. I mean, that's just it. Like, when you like look at Xbox from the point of view of a gamer and not someone who's really entrenched in social media, Xbox is arguably better than ever. If you're not looking at social media, if you're not looking at YouTube, if you're not worrying about what they're doing next gen and all that kind of thing, Xbox is like, there's been more quality games on Xbox than probably ever in the platform's history. We've got like so many great games coming to the platform. We've got publishers that have, skipped the platform previously, launching games more prolifically on Xbox than ever. And there is like an issue where games are launching late on Xbox, like Silent Hill 2 launched late on Xbox, fine. And Final Fantasy VII Remake obviously launching late on Xbox, fine. Monster Hunter Stories launching late on Xbox, etc. But there's so much to play beyond that as well. And we've even had Sony publishing on Xbox. We've had Sony publishing Helldivers 2 on Xbox, which for me is the strongest signal that you can point to that the Xbox has an healthy ecosystem for publishers and developers. Would Sony publish Helldivers 2 on Xbox if there was not money to be made? For me, that's the best evidence from last year that Xbox is still a healthy platform overall from a business perspective. And obviously, there are massive issues from a community perspective with Xbox. I don't think anyone could deny that. And also a visibility perspective and the platform perspective, there are definitely issues for sure. But I think like most people on Xbox, they just play games. And if that's ultimately what Xbox's job is to give us games to play. And Xbox has been delivering that, I think. Personally speaking, Xbox has been delivering that. But if you guys disagree, that's completely fair as well. If they haven't been delivering for you, I mean, that's completely fair. Let me know what you think in chat about that. Dark Fox 2K4 says, didn't some dude delete his social life in Xbox and get a massive boost in performance? Now, this was an interesting topic, Dark Fox, and I'm glad you mentioned it because there was a former Halo esports guy who said that he was lagging in games and having issues. And when he deleted all his friends list and his messages, he found that he had a performance boost on Xbox. Because he had thousands of messages and he had thousands of friends on his Xbox. And the implication being that if you've got a profile that's overly complicated and has a lot of stuff in it, it can make you lag. I've spoken to Xbox platform architects about this, and it is something they're investigating as a possibility. I haven't gotten a hard reply on whether or not it's a placebo effect or something, but it does seem like an issue that Xbox would have, especially when there's so many overlapping teams. Historically speaking, there were overlapping teams running different aspects of the Xbox platform. And I often discover myself edge cases where I use Xbox too much and break it. I actually discovered this issue this week. I've been playing Fallout 4, for example, a lot across platform. I've been playing it on Xbox LAX a lot, in the living room and in bed. And I've also been playing it on my TV with my Xbox Series X, because it gained Xbox Play Anywhere support in November. It was buggy, but then they patched it, and I've been playing across platform. But like I ran into an issue where my save file on Fallout 4 got so big, it would no longer sync my save file to my Xbox anymore, because Xbox has a limit on how big save files can be, but PC doesn't. So my Fallout 4 save file got so big, it would no longer sync between the platforms. So it does seem like this guy might have discovered an edge case issue where his profile was so big and so unwieldy that it maybe did impact performance. And as soon as I know something more definitive about the issue, I will write someone up about it. But it's an interesting topic. That was something that I've seen happening this week. We've got Jesse with the 5 US. Thank you very much. When you're not caught up in console wars, Xbox gets more games than ever before and gets 95% of all games published on consoles. It's absolutely true, man. Like, if you're just a gamer and you're just like, there's so much to play, my backlog is absurd. It's absolutely absurd, man. So, here's what it is. Failsafe guy says, if Xbox gets completely out of hardware and pulls a Sega, how does that impact games media? How does it impact Windows Central? Well, bro, you might not remember that Windows Central was once called Windows Phone Central. And we know what happened to Windows Phone, right? So while I do think Xbox going away wouldn't be great for Windows Central, the thing that we cover the most is Windows, not Xbox. Like Xbox is a small piece of what we do. I'm like the most I'm the most sort of present member of staff on social media because I cover gaming, and I think gaming is very prolific on social media. But I'm by no means the biggest writer on Windows Central, not even close. The biggest writer on Windows Central is a guy you've never heard of called Maro, and he only writes about Windows. So if Xbox went away, Windows Central will be fine. You know, I've been writing more about Windows and AI myself. So Xbox doesn't pay the bills. It's just something I'm personally passionate about, you know. But I don't think Xbox is going to go away. I don't think Xbox is even going to stop making hardware. I think it's still going to be a boutique kind of thing. Like Paris said on our show Xbox 2 plus 1 on my channel, I think the best way to describe Xbox's hardware future is that it's going to be boutique in the same way that Surface is boutique within the Windows OEM ecosystem. Xbox is going to be a Windows OEM, you know, another Windows OEM, and you're going to have Asus Xbox, Lenovo Xbox. Maybe the next big Xbox doesn't even come from Microsoft itself, you know. Maybe it comes from Alienware or Razer or Asus or something like that, or Acer even. Maybe it's not even AMD based. Maybe they slap the chip on an Intel GPU, like Intel's doing some stuff there right now. Maybe Brad Samsey's ARM based Xbox will become the next big Xbox. I don't know. I think this is like one of the cool things about opening up Xbox to OEMs is that maybe an OEM can succeed where Microsoft failed, and that benefits us as Xbox customers. Because if for example, an OEM who's more prolific in a country like China or Taiwan or Japan even, if they make an Xbox and use the Xbox branding, and that's the Xbox that really blows up in those regions, in a universe where Microsoft can't blow up in those regions because they're too American centric, it'll benefit us because then like developers like, you know, the devs of Black Myth Wukong or Phantom Blade Zero, which both of which are skipping Xbox at launch. Maybe there's a universe where the Asus Xbox does really well in China, and some of those developers think, oh, actually, we shouldn't skip Xbox now. But it's all pie in the sky stuff, you know. It's all pie in the sky stuff for now. Patrock said, I miss the super chat. Sorry about that, buddy. $2 from Patrock. Is Fable going to be announced for PlayStation? I don't know if Fable will be announced for PlayStation at Developer Direct, personally. I don't think it will be. I think they've made it for Xbox first, and they'll bring it to PlayStation later. Obviously, it's coming to PlayStation. Everything's coming to PlayStation. If Halo's coming to PlayStation, you can bet your ass Fable's coming to PlayStation. But I think like the focus platform is Xbox right now, and I think eventually it will come, but you know, it'll take time. Champagne Supernova with the 5 says, how PlayStation scoots past their output, first party output this gen, and not getting heat for it like Xbox does needs to be studied. It is interesting, isn't it? PlayStation's first party output it's kind of flipped, right? Xbox is the one that's putting out tons of games, and PlayStation is the one that's kind of been anemic with it. But I do think this comes back to the quality bar to some degree that people have expected of Xbox and PlayStation. Also, Xbox's games are going multi-platform, so it can't be used in console war narratives, right? Which kind of like, you know, sucks some of the wind out of it. From like, if you're a journalist who wants to get clicks on the console war, or you're a YouTuber who wants to get clicks on the console war, but the game's multi-platform, you can't use it in an argument, right? But from a business perspective, sure. Like Xbox put out a ton of games last year. And one of the things that I think like helps the Xbox consumer base and customers is when the money comes in from PlayStation, Microsoft uses that money to reinvest to make their games better, you know. One of the reasons why PlayStation has been able to build up such a reputation for quality is because they were making more money from their first party because they had a bigger user base. Now Xbox is tapping into that money by going to PlayStation, and yeah, they have to pay PlayStation a cut, but they're still going to be making far more money than they would have been if they had been fully exclusive, which means they can potentially hire the higher quality devs. They can potentially gun for some of those marketing beats and things like that. You know, it increases the amount of money that Microsoft has to reinvest in building its platform from you know, to make it more prolific. And sure, they could totally fuck that up. As we all know from being Xbox fans for the last 10 years, they can certainly fuck all that up, man. But yeah, we'll see what happens, you know. You can, when you're sort of predicting and speculating about the future, you can either go like the doom and gloom perspective, or you can like maybe take a more optimistic perspective. And the optimistic perspective is they'll use that money to reinvest it to grow their first party. But you could also take the pessimistic impression, which I'm certainly liable to do sometimes, which is Satya will take that money and buy himself a new yacht. Mm. Pushing Polygons Gaming says, Jez, do the other writers make you learn about Kubernetes? I hope not. We're not going down that route yet, but maybe we will, you know. There's always something to write about. There's always something to write about. We've also got Miles Dompier. Shout out to Miles. Miles is like an awesome dude. It is unfortunate that from a game standpoint, 2025 was one of the best years ever for Xbox. I mean, yeah, you know, and it's a shame that the headlines were dominated by layoffs, price hikes, but it's at the same time, it's like these things didn't just happen to Microsoft. Microsoft is one company of many that had layoffs. Microsoft's one company of many that had price hikes, you know. And that by no means does this suggest that Microsoft should get off the hook for doing those things. But it's a symptom of our sick system, frankly, where greed is prioritized above everything. And this is one of the issues that Microsoft has as a company that's so prolifically traded on the stock market now. Everything has to be revolve around the share price. They won't do anything that isn't going to boost the share price, which makes them really frustrating to cover. I think someone put out a tweet the other day where it was like, they have so many Copilot integrations now. I think they've got like 46 Copilot integrations into various products, whether it's Word, OneNote, Outlook, Xbox app, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's like nobody wants or asks for this stuff. And it's not even useful a lot of the time. It's not even useful. You know, like the Word integration for OneNote integration, it's all terrible. And this is the best way you can tell that all this integration stuff is terrible. It pops up with a box saying, here's a suggestion, try this. You try the suggestion and it doesn't fucking work. So this is why like Microslop is trending. You know, if you're and in their advertisements, like The Verge put out an article about this. They have these advertisements for Copilot showing things that people are using Copilot for. And when you try to use those examples, they don't fucking work. What? What fucking universe are they living on? It's crazy, man. We've got Gaz in the chat. Septic Sauce, shout out to you. Let me in. Ran, Gaz, I would let you in, but my stream is not set up for co-host right now, unfortunately. I don't have my headphones or anything, so we'll have to do it another time, buddy. But shout out to you, man. Yeah, well, shout out to everyone who's here. You know, if you're just joining us, smash that like button, as the YouTubers say. Also, check out Surfshark VPN, 80% off, surfshark.com/XB2. You get 2 years off. No, you get a 2-year plan for 80% off, which is an absolutely sick deal. And, you know, all the stuff that comes with that. So check that out, link in the description, all that stuff. Also, check us out on patreon.com/XB2 to go ad-free on Spotify or get weekly Q&As and stuff like that. If you are watching us, if you have joined us recently, the reason Rand isn't here is because he's dealing with a death in the family. Hopefully he'll be back soon, but until then, I'm going to be trying to fly solo. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks to everyone in the chat who's helping me be co-host right now. And also thanks to everyone on Patreon who's dropped some Q&As, which we'll get to soon. I'll just run down some other news that happened recently. One of the things that, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a big countdown on Amazon's Fallout website. Have some of you guys seen this? And there was some outlets that were speculating that the countdown on Amazon's website for the Fallout TV show is gonna reveal a game or something like that. I can confirm 100% that the Amazon countdown, the Amazon website countdown, is nothing to do with the game. It's nothing to do with Bethesda. And in fact, from what I've heard, Amazon is even keeping it from Bethesda themselves and saying like it's a surprise. So this is what I've heard. You know, don't know how true that is, but I it's nothing to do whatsoever with a game. So don't expect Fallout 3 remake to shadow drop. Don't expect I'm just moisturizing, by the way. Don't expect Fallout to shadow drop or anything like that. Don't expect Fallout New Vegas to shadow drop or a secret DLC for Fallout 4 or something like that. It's nothing to do with the game whatsoever. Alpha Layer says it's the Fallout game show announcement. That's probably what it's going to be. So if you haven't heard, there's a Fallout game show that's sort of similar to Big Brother being in production right now. And basically how that's going to work is a bunch of, they're going to be vault dwellers. They're going to be in a vault and they're going to be they're going to have to do tasks and stuff and be experimented on like fucking Fallout Vault. So, you know, that's probably what it's about. But yeah, it's not a game. However, in my report for Xbox's 2026, and beyond, I reported that we're getting a Fallout 3 remake. We're also getting Fallout New Vegas remake, and Fallout 5 is already in pre-production. As in, you know, sort of working out some of the bones of the game. I think Fallout 5 is probably at least 6-7 years away. Probably. And what I've heard is that first we're getting Fallout 3 remake, and that Fallout New Vegas is sort of like on the table, but is very, very barely started. So it does seem like we're getting Fallout 3 first remake. I don't know how soon that is, but Fallout New Vegas remake is probably further off. Now, what I don't know is the Fallout 3 remake going to be made by Virtuous? Because as you can see here on the video, we've got Oblivion remake from Virtuous, which is a very good remake. It's faithful to the original. It's very heavily based on the original. This might be controversial, but I've struggled with it, man. Like, it feels really dated to me. And I don't know how people in chat feel about this take. Please let me know how you feel about this, because this is how I felt playing Oblivion Remake. And it was like, these graphics are really pretty. I really enjoy the nostalgia. I love the nostalgia about I love the music and just exploring and all those feelings of being a teenager flooding back, you know. I love that stuff. So it's like it's the same Gamebryo underneath, but all they've done is put Unreal Engine on top of it. And it's kind of like, I can't play this. I just can't play this. It feels too dated. And they have improved some things. They've added like new animations for melee attacks and some kind of, they've touched off some aspects of it, right? But I'm just kind of like, I want something more. I want it to feel like, I want it to kind of like be more like Resident Evil remake, where they actually remake it, you know, and make every aspect of it better and more modernized. So I don't know. I don't know. How did you guys feel about Oblivion remake? Let me know. And I kind of feel like if they're gonna like keep the gunplay from Fallout 3 in the game after I've just played Fallout 4, it's gonna feel, even if it's got a new coat of paint, it's gonna feel like such a step backwards for me. I'd rather have a remake than a remaster. I'd rather have improved gunplay. I'd rather have new features and maybe new story beats. I don't know if I want like just a remaster. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Clanfear, it was called Oblivion Remaster at the end of the day. It was called a remaster, not a remake. But I would rather have a remake. I think these games are old enough to deserve a remake. I don't know. I'd rather play Fallout 3 or New Vegas on Fallout 4's engine than just put a Unreal Engine layer over the top of Gamebryo. Personally speaking. I don't know if that's, I don't know. I couldn't get into it, man. And I loved it. I put like hundreds of hours into Oblivion back in the day, but I just couldn't get into the remaster because it was just, it just felt like going backwards, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. I hope that Fallout 3 and New Vegas remasters get a proper refresh on their gunplay. At the very least. Because I remember playing New Vegas. Like, even New Vegas had better gunplay than Fallout 3. Like, they improved the gunplay for Fallout New Vegas over Fallout 3. And it's just like, after playing Fallout 4, which has, you know, pretty decent gunplay for its era, I can't go backwards, man. I don't know. Alpha Lair says the remaster sold 10 million copies. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely, you know. I think I think it's okay. Like, I'm just speaking personally. I even think it's virtuous. Pun. I think it's virtuous to some degree to remaster without completely changing the original, because you've kind of preserved it in a way for future generations. But at the same time, I just wish it felt a little bit nicer. Like, even Skyrim's combat feels better than Oblivion remaster. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, we get in Fallout. Tons of Fallout content is on the horizon, you know, and Todd Howard himself said a lot of the investment that Bethesda has going on right now revolves entirely around Fallout as a franchise, and absolutely it should be. Absolutely it should be, you know, because I said this last week, I think Fallout has the most potential as a franchise this side of Call of Duty and Minecraft. I think, like, with the way the Fallout TV show has gone mainstream, like, there is so much potential in the Fallout franchise to really become, like, just that, on that next level. I can't even describe it. I can't even describe it, man. They should, like, Fallout should be up there with, like, Mario, I think, for it's so iconic. And now that you've got normies getting into it as a result of the TV show. Mm. And you know, there's the whole Fallout integration with Call of Duty right now, like Newis just said. I think it's gonna be, there's so much potential, man. There's so much potential. The game adaptation newscast says, I used to hate 76 VATs, but now I prefer it. Yeah, like Fallout 76 has been popping off as well. I installed Fallout 76 again recently. I'm kind of like in this weird place in Fallout 76 where I haven't played it for so long, and it's just like, I don't know where I am, what I'm doing, what's going on. So I need to try and figure out how to get back into it. Part of me is just like, shall I just start a new character? They've changed so much now over the years. Maybe I should just start a new character. I don't know. But I love Fallout 76. I put a ton of time into that game. Honestly, and this is a hot take, I liked Fallout 76 at launch. I played Fallout 76 like a traditional Fallout game, and I went solo. I didn't do any multiplayer gameplay, and I just played it like a regular Fallout game, like exploring and stuff. Some of the quests in that game, like, even though they're told entirely through environmental storytelling and holotapes and stuff like that, some of the quests in that game hit you hard, man. They are so bleak and underrated, I think. They are underrated. So I think Fallout 76, when you, like, actually just play it like a traditional Fallout game and ignore the multiplayer stuff, you don't bother with the raids, it's still a fantastic Fallout game. It's still got the environmental storytelling, it's still got the holotapes, it's still got the bleak quests. It's still that experience, and it's kind of, I'm a little bit biased here because as a kid, I was really into cryptids and UFOs and all that kind of stuff as a little kid. I used to get this magazine. Some Brits might remember this magazine, Spine Chiller magazine. It was like, this Spine Chiller magazine was like a horror magazine. It was like UFOs, and it was aliens, and it was Bigfoot, and it was, you know, the Loch Ness Monster and things like that. But a lot of the cryptids in Fallout 76 are sort of classic cryptids, like the Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster. Like, as a kid, I was obsessed with the Flatwoods Monster. And I think, like, I didn't realize how much how many cryptids existed solely in Appalachia. I didn't realize that. But Fallout 76 celebrates that stuff in such a big way. Like, even as a single player game, I think Fallout 76 is incredibly underrated. And yeah, it was buggy. It was not what people wanted from Fallout franchise. But I think if you overlook those aspects of it, Fallout 76 has come such a long way. It's come such a long way. I think it's an absolutely fantastic game, man. If you ignore all the FUD and all the noise and all the hate about Fallout 76 and just play it like a single player Fallout game, you'll really enjoy it. You'll find something to love in that game. It's really good. Um, but yeah, I'm so excited for Fallout and Bethesda. Also, like, one thing I forgot to write about in my 2026 preview was Starfield. Like, we're getting a Starfield update this year, which mm, I haven't heard that the Starfield update is going to be a 2.0 kind of revelatory thing, but my source on this is often quite cynical and negative and downplays things. You know, shout out to you, by the way. Um, Sometimes, like, this source is kind of like, I don't think this is going to be very good, but then it's actually a banger. So part of me is like, do I want to trust this source saying that the Starfield DLCs and the expansion is not actually going to be that good? Or do I want to let myself get hyped for it? Um, but we'll see. I think Starfield will have a good send off either way. Like, I played through Far Harbor recently on Fallout 4, and Far Harbor, by the way, if you've never played Far Harbor for Fallout 4, it is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best DLCs I've ever played through. It's not quite up there with the Witcher 3 DLCs, but it's pretty close. You know, it's just like maybe a step down from those. I absolutely loved Far Harbor, man. So, like, it does seem like Bethesda can deliver a really great expansion when they want to, and maybe we'll see like stuff like that from Starfield. But I'm excited for Elder Scrolls 6, and I don't know if you guys saw this as well, but the Xbox Twitter account tweeted, "It's a good year for games that end in 6." And now a lot of people are thinking that there might be Elder Scrolls 6 things this year. So maybe this is going to be a good year for Bethesda. Another part of my report was Wolfenstein 3. I don't know if you guys read my report, but Wolfenstein 3 has been greenlit, from what I understand. And Wolfenstein 3, I think, is going to coincide with the TV show. So, you know, a good news for probably going to be a good year for Bethesda, I think. Didac Bruh asks about Quake 6. So, you know, I wrote in my article about id Software, like what this was more speculation, like what could id Software be working on? I think after Doom the Dark Ages probably didn't hit as hard as they was expecting it to. I think like it'd be good to give Doom a little breather for a while and then return back to basics. But I do think like there are a couple of things that id Software could be working on now. One of them is Hexen, and Phil wore a Hexen t-shirt at one of the events, which felt very intentional. And then also we've got Quake, which is Quake very similar to Doom, but maybe a little bit more Lovecraftian in its themes rather than demonic. So I do think like the next step for id is probably Quake or Hexen, most likely Quake, and then maybe Hexen after that. We'll see. But like Doom the Dark Ages was a good game overall, but for whatever reason it didn't hit as hard as Doom Eternal or Doom 2016. How did you guys feel about Doom the Dark Ages? Let me know in the chat. I never finished Doom the Dark Ages for some reason. It just I don't know why. It just for some reason it just didn't hook me, you know, like the other games did, despite the fact it has a hookshot. Mm. And Pushing Polygons Gaming says, don't forget that Heretic and Hexen ports came out this year as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. So yeah, what else we got for news here? I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Xbox Gear Shop is coming back. One of the weird things about Xbox is that they had this merchandise store for ages, and then it shut down randomly a few months ago, maybe like a year ago now. But it got updated recently, and now it says this. The Xbox Gear Shop, it now says yeah, please sign up. Please sign up to be informed when the Xbox Gear Shop is back online. So I'm going to do that right now. But it does sound like the Xbox Gear Shop is coming back online, and it's going to be in partnership with DPI Merchandising. So DPI Merchandising, what do? DPI Merchandising, they already do a bunch of Xbox stuff. They work with Doom, they work with The Witcher, they work with Assassin's Creed, they work with Kingdom Come Deliverance, they work with Fallout. So DPI, it seems like DPI is taking over the merchandising operation for the Xbox shop, which bodes well, I think. It's really interesting actually. I heard that now this is fun, but the Xbox Gear Shop was actually based in my town. It was based in my town in the UK. It was like a warehouse in the UK, and this is what I heard. There was some kind of like fraud thing going on there, or like the company that had the warehouse like hadn't paid their rent or something like that. Something weird happened basically. But it sounds like DPI merchandising is like, DPI is a big deal. So it does seem like, with them fully taking over operations, it should become something actually good now. Mm. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see when that comes back up. We've also got Blade 123 with the $2 Canadian. Sorry for Ran's loss. Happy New Year, Jez. Yeah, man. Shout out to Ran. If you're just joining us, I'm just letting you know that the reason Rand isn't here is he's suffered a death in the family, and I'm streaming on Rand's channel for the foreseeable as a solo venture until Rand can get back on his feet. So send Rand your best wishes if you've got the opportunity. But yeah, it'll just be me for a little while. Finally, before we move on to Patreon Q&As, we've also got, I don't know if any of you guys checked out the New Game Plus show. It does sound like the New Game Plus show is a little bit influencer heavy and a bit too much talking, I heard. Like, some people were annoyed about it. But we did get some updates on some of the Xbox games at the event. Grounded 2 is getting a new biome. Community Garden with new creatures, new weapons, new armors. I haven't played Grounded 2 yet. I'm kind of like with Grounded, I'm kind of waiting until it launches out of early access to consider it. Although at the same time, I'm loving Valheim so too much at the moment, But Grounded's a pretty great game, of course, and Obsidian are legends with how quickly they bring out games. Speaking of Obsidian, one of their other announcements was there's a big Avowed update coming out, which they're going to let you play more races, and also it's going to come to PlayStation very soon. And also we've got Towerborn launching out of early access. It's getting a huge update, a complete story mode, including new bosses, new music, fully reworked difficulty system, reimagined world map, and also it's removing its free-to-play status. It's gonna cost I think it's $25 or something like that. And it's also getting an offline mode. So Towerborn is completely given up on being a live service, which I think is a good move because I don't think it was ever going to work as a live service. I don't think they were ever going to have enough content. I don't think it really had. It wasn't interesting enough to be a live service personally, but I do think it could function as like a nice little, Streets of Rage kind of game, play with your friends or play on like handheld devices as a sort of like, I'm going to play this through and then complete it and stuff like that and then finish it. So I do think it's the right move for Towerborn. I don't think it was the kind of game that I want to really dedicate any sort of my life to, you know, but it's the kind of game that I probably enjoy. Um, and it's sort of like one and done kind of thing. So those are the major story beats of the week. If any of you guys want to bring up any topics, do so in the chat. But I'm going to move on to Patreon Q&As now. We've got a lot of Patreon Q&As to get through, and if you are subscribed to Patreon, you do get like Q&As every week, and you can set the topics for the show and stuff like that. So we've got a bunch of Q&As here. The filter's turned off now, so hopefully nobody's questions have been filtered. The Duck of Death says, if you like Fallout, try Wasteland 2 and 3. The choices are very impactful. I absolutely love Wasteland, and I completely echo that. I've actually just downloaded Wasteland 2 on the Xbox Ally, so I'm looking forward to getting back into Wasteland. Wasteland's a fantastic game, of course. I played that game to death, but I'm looking forward to going through it again as part of my Fallout kick. If you guys don't know, by the way, Fallout was originally um Fallout evolved out of Wasteland, not the other way around. So Brian Fargo made Wasteland 1, and then he lost the IP to EA. I think it was EA. So because he no longer had the Wasteland IP, he basically made the exact same game, but called it Fallout. And instead of being inspired by the 80s, it was inspired by like the 1950s and the Cold War, instead of being inspired by the Cold War in the 1980s. So that's where Fallout comes from. It comes from Wasteland, not the other way around. So now Wasteland and Fallout kind of coexist, and it's kind of interesting that all of the major Fallout alumni are all Microsoft employees. So Tim Kaine recently joined Obsidian. You've got Josh Sawyer, you've got Fergus, and you've got Todd Howard, obviously on Fallout 3 and stuff like that. You've got a lot of the old school Black Isle devs and Interplay devs, and you've got Brian Fargo in Exile. All those guys are there together for Fallout, which has now become like an absolute monster because of the TV show. I have to believe that Brian Fargo and Tim Kaine and Josh Sawyer and Todd Howard, they have to be imagining ways that they can make more Fallout games, you know. So if you wanna discover Fallout's heritage, go back and play Wasteland 2 and 3. Wasteland 1 is a very old game, and you probably hasn't aged well. There is actually a Wasteland 1 remaster, but this is like almost a text-based game. That's how old it is, right? So, you know, go and play Wasteland 2 and 3 are like turn-based tactical games in the vein of XCOM with Baldur's Gate, you know, that kind of thing. It's grid-based shooter combat. Wasteland 3 is amazing. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely go and check that out. But yeah, absolutely. This is a very Fallout heavy podcast, I'm finding. Dark Fox 2K4 says Microsoft needs to do a Fallout studio. I agree, but I also kind of like think, do they need one? I kind of like the In Exile developers, obviously, right now they're working on Clockwork Revolution, but I do think there's a universe where after they're done with Clockwork Revolution, maybe they go and remake Fallout 1 or Fallout 2 or both, or maybe even Fallout Tactics. Or make Wasteland 4. Like, whatever In Exile makes, I'm there for, because In Exile is fucking amazing. But anyway, these are Patreon Q&As, and if you guys want to do a Patreon Q&A, the thread is up over here. I'm going to drop it in the chat right there. So, yes. So first question is from Glenn. Hello, Jez. Happy New Year to you and Ran and the Xbox 2 community. Now that we're over a year into the This Is an Xbox marketing campaign, how do you feel it's going? How successful do you think it has been in changing people how people use language? My impression is that some diehard Xbox fans have followed the prescription and have started using expressions like "I'm playing Xbox" to refer to playing games on their phone. However, I don't know about other gamers. Do you think any PC gamers who have ever owned an Xbox console have started saying "I'm playing Xbox" when they're playing Avowed on Steam? On a different note, maybe the marketing campaign wasn't really about changing how people use words, more about trying to stir up controversy and boost Xbox's prominence in the discourse. In that regard, I think the marketing has been quite successful. Cheers. So, I think like This Is an Xbox campaign, I'm still not a huge fan of it, personally speaking, but I am certainly not its target market. One thing I will say is that like some of the PC subreddits that I browse, they do sort of talk often about playing games via PC Game Pass. Like, it does seem like PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass in general is quite a popular aspect on PC. And one thing I have heard is that from next quarter, Microsoft's actually going to start reporting on how well PC Game Pass is doing, or not. Sorry, not Game Pass. Sorry, but the PC app in general, because I have heard that the Xbox PC as a store has actually become a significant part of Microsoft's business in a universe where the console business has sort of been waning. So I don't think that this is an Xbox marketing campaign has done particularly amazingly well, personally speaking. But I'm definitely not the kind of person that it's targeted towards. I need to try and speak to some people about how they feel about it. I think the vast majority of normies and public people probably don't even know it exists, frankly speaking. But what it reminded me of, Glenn, is Jaguar's marketing campaign. And I talked about this on Xbox too. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Jaguar is a car manufacturer. And they had a pretty stark marketing campaign where they were going to pivot away from these sort of their old audience and try and target a new audience. Now, Jaguar's marketing campaign didn't work because they basically alienated all of their old users. Where Xbox differs here is that they are trying to bring existing users along for the ride. The next Xbox is going to support backwards compatibility. And I think with that in mind, I think Xbox kind of like is they're not making the same mistake that Jaguar's making while they try and build this new platform. So I do think Xbox's future is multi-platform. Of course it is. And this marketing campaign kind of reflects that. But they're also, unlike Jaguar, they're trying to bring the existing users along for the ride by investing in things like backwards compatibility with the next Xbox having this chip from AMD, stuff like that. So I understand why they're doing it. I'm just not a big fan. And I don't know if it's actually going to make a dent, but we'll see what happens. It'd be interesting what Microsoft says about Xbox PC at their next quarterly, the next quarterly financial report. But it is interesting to me that or annoying rather, sorry, not interesting, annoying. They can't decide on a brand for it. They call it Xbox PC and they call it Xbox on PC. I pick a lane, guys. I prefer Xbox PC rather than Xbox on PC. I think that sounds a lot punchier. I don't know. Next question is from C. Woody. C. Woody says, "Hello, Jez. Hope you're well. Really enjoyed your prediction article this week. Thank you very much. My question is about the launch of Magnus. Do you expect cheaper OEM Xboxes to launch alongside of it, after it, or even before it? Thanks." So I actually talked about this at the start of the show. I do think there are going to be cheaper OEM Xbox branded consoles, and it's kind of been hinted at me from the same sources that gave me things like the Xbox Ally. Like, I exclusively revealed the Xbox Ally last year, and the same sources that gave me the Xbox Ally were also kind of hinting to me that there will be OEM Xbox consoles that are cheaper and more expensive than the next gen first party Xbox. So I do expect them. One of the other things I was hinted at is that this year, 2026, we could see another OEM Xbox hit the market. A more Steam machine like console that uses that doesn't have the Xbox backwards compatibility chip, but maybe uses a Z2 Extreme, but without screen. So like an Xbox Ally for your TV that doesn't have a screen and isn't a handheld, stuff like that. So I do think that we are going to see a plethora of Xboxes next gen, and the whole "this is an Xbox" marketing campaign will have a different note to hit when there are so many devices that have the Xbox branding. You know, the Xbox Ally and even the Xbox Meta Quest, they are just a start. We're going to see a ton of Xbox consoles of all shapes and sizes for all different markets. And I think that's the right play, frankly, because Microsoft no longer has to think about the regional marketing, which they suck at, frankly, and you can let like OEMs handle the regional marketing. So like marketing for places like Europe or marketing for places like China, where Microsoft's just not very good at it. They don't have the retail distribution, they don't have the retail representation rather, and they don't have the distribution. But if they can get Asus to deal with that, or a Taiwanese company, or a Chinese company, or a Japanese company even. Maybe even Sony will make an Xbox someday. But I do think that's the OEM future is has a lot of potential to make sure that the Xbox install base keeps expanding, ensuring that we keep getting the games from third parties, right? Good old Collingwood says, "G'day, Jez. No, we others don't say that. We Aussies don't say that." Bro, you do say that. Like, are there any Aussies in chat right now? Like, I was on Xbox Era last week, and I put it to Nick, who's an Australian. I said, why doesn't he say no instead of no? And then he was like, because Aussies don't say no. But bro, at the end of the show, when Nick was annoyed about something, he said no instead of no. You guys do say it. Don't lie to me. I know you guys say it. Good on Collingwood says 2026 marks the 25th anniversary of the game RuneScape. Did you play the browser RPG back in the day? Do you still play RuneScape? I have actually never played RuneScape. However, I do keep seeing ads for RuneScape, and I actually want to try it. It looks very good. It looks very old school, and I'm kind of like, as I approach 40, rapidly approach 40, I am increasingly intrigued by RuneScape. So I haven't played it myself, but maybe I'll try it. I kind of want to try it. Does anyone in chat play RuneScape? I'm kind of intrigued about it. Next up, we've got Lee Sanders. Jez, you're probably more in the know and not fishing, but this Death Direct only 3 games because the games announced will get a bigger spotlight. To follow, I'm just quite baffled that Clockwork isn't on there. Could that be it's not getting a 2026 release date? Are Xbox focusing on the big 4, or is a game like Clockwork going to be an after E3 showcase type game? Good question. Like, I honestly don't know where Clockwork Revolution's going to fall. I've heard State of Decay is targeting 2027, for example, and I wouldn't be surprised if possibly Clockwork Revolution is also a 2027 game, and they're giving it like a lot of time and breathing space to really hit that next level. I think this has all the potential in the world to be inXile's magnum opus, and I think they really want to give inXile the opportunity to make something truly fantastic. You know, Clockwork Revolution is like, for me, State of Decay 3 and Clockwork Revolution are my 2 most hyped games. Just because, like, I love State of Decay and I've always wanted to see that franchise hit its potential. And also inXile are just amazing. They're probably inXile are just so fun. Like, Wasteland 3's, if you haven't played Wasteland 3, it has some of the best writing in a modern game. It is such a fucked up game. It's so brilliant. I can't recommend Wasteland 3 enough. If you've ever enjoyed a game like, if you've enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 or a game like XCOM, you've got to play Wasteland 3. It is so good. But yeah, I expect Clockwork Revolution in 2027. But I do think, Lee Sanders, that we are going to get more games in the Dev Direct. I have heard very strongly that Kiln from from Double Fine is gonna be at the Dev Direct. So if you guys don't know, Kiln is a sort of physics-based brawler where you make clay fighters in a kiln and then make them battle to the death. You know, something like that. I've heard that Kiln is going to be at the Dev Direct, but I don't know how true that is. So, you know, don't take it as gospel truth. It's just something that I heard, and I personally believe it. And I think that's what Shinobi was alluding to on his post on Reset Era, was Kiln from Double Fine. And it's also what I put in my report. That's why I put baked in italics, because, you know, you bake pottery in a kiln, right? So yeah, I do think Kiln will be there. So I do think we're getting more than 3 games. Otherwise, it'd be like, they've never done 3 games before. It's always been 4 games or more. So I think we'll see. But, you know, Cole Eastwood, like, had some pretty good sourcing that there were going to be a ton of games at this Dev Direct. You know, and I actually heard similar. back in the day that there was actually like going to be quite a lot of games at the Dev Direct. For maybe they thought like maybe we should put some of these games at the showcase. You know, things always change, and when they filmed like a spot or a documentary, they can always just use it wherever they want at will. I also think there's going to be more than 3 games, you know, but we'll see what happens. You know, things are kind of fluid. But yeah, thanks Lee Sanders for the question. Next up, we've got Chris M. Hey Jez, want to send my best wishes to Rand and his family. Thank you, Chris. Sending in a second question to help you out. I'm not sure if you saw the thing about the Daily Show here in the US taking a shot at Xbox. Basically, they were doing a silly counter ICE recruitment ad offering perks not to join. And one of them was, we'll give you a PS5 and 12 Xboxes with a graphic that showed one PS5 and 12 comically smaller Xbox Series X's. How bad of a look do you think it is for casuals that shows like this are making an Xbox punchline, much the way they've done about Arby's not being a real food for years? Because it can't be good luck for Xbox to be the gaming Arby's. I hope you have a great show, and I know we're all sending our best to Rand. Thank you very much for that, Chris, first of all. I did not hear about this, but, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, if Xbox wants to be the butt of a joke, only Xbox can fix this. You know, only Xbox has an opportunity to fix this. I don't know how they can fix it myself. I'm not a marketing guy, but it is kind of ridiculous, frankly, that PlayStation can get away with this stuff. Like, the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PlayStation. Xbox actually had more exclusives than PlayStation last year, and still they're getting clowned on. I don't know how you solve something like that, you know, because it's like, it's just not, it's not the reality. It's not the reality of the situation, you know, but we live in an era where people make up their own realities. And I don't know how Xbox can fix that, you know. Maybe they've got to play dirty, but also at the same time, maybe it just doesn't fucking matter, you know. Maybe it just doesn't matter, man. Geordie Mess in chat says, not watched, listen to the show in an age, but it's good to see you got around to getting on cam. Congrats, you hairy man. Oh, man. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, I am pretty hairy. You should see my back. My back, like on my back. I'm like, I'm hairy, bro. I'm like so hairy. It's like an issue. Like I've got like, my fingers are hairy. Like it's crazy how hairy I am. You know, not a bad thing. I eat a lot of bananas. My mom says it's because I eat a lot of bananas. I don't know, but there's a market for hairy men, isn't there? There's a market for hairy men, guys. Right? Right? Oh no, it's Alex told me there's a market for hairy men. And oh no, it's Alex on Twitter was like, Jez, send me some nudes and I'll tell you if there's a market. And I was like, dude, I'll send you some nudes. So I sent him like some full body pictures, like with all my hair, and it was like, dude, yeah, you should make an OnlyFans, you know. Make some like bare OnlyFans, you know. So shout out to Oh no, it's Alex, you know, because he was like advising me on all the shit, because he's like an expert on this stuff. He's like an expert, you know. So I was asking him for advice on, you know, how to be naked on streams and shit like that. But oh man. Fox of Foxtrot says hairy feet do well. Yeah, I've got hairy feet, bro. Like hobbit level shit, man. I got hobbit level feet, man. It's a problem, bro. It's a serious issue. I don't know how this shit happens, man. I don't know how. Somehow I've cut my arm. I don't know how that happened. During the show, I've managed to cut my arm. I don't know how this happened. Like, there's not. Is there even anything sharp in here? Like, how has that happened? I've got a podcast injury. How has that happened? That's so random. But anyway, that was slightly off topic, and I blame the Geordie for it. So this is the issue with Geordies, man. They just want to derail everything. They just want to derail everything, man. It's just Geordies are just they're on like another level, man. They're just on another level. Chris M. Dark Fox, I don't know how we ended here, man. I don't know, but we did. That's how we got here, man. Dark Fox, no, Chris M says, "Hiya, Jez. Hope the show is going well by this point. Is there a chance GTA 6 might get delayed again, but this time because of the RAM issue? Given it's only next gen and not PC, the higher cost of gaming consoles seems like it might be a barrier for many to get the game, which might be more expensive than usual. Combine that with the younger generation that I don't know really cares about GTA, and it seems like the real potential for it to significantly underperform what the industry expects. Wouldn't that also be bad for the industry as a whole? I can tell you now, I don't think GTA will be delayed for the RAM. I think if GTA gets delayed, it's because it's not finished, you know. And Take-Two Interactive has been pretty. Take-Two Interactive has been pretty transparent about the possibility of it being delayed again. And Jason Schreier has also put in his podcast, by the way. I can't remember the name of the podcast off the top of my head, but Jason Schreier's got a new podcast, or at least he guests on a podcast. I don't know if it's his podcast, but he put out there that there are people within Rockstar who aren't convinced that the game will be finished this year. You know, and personally speaking, I would rather they delay the game to make it as great as possibly can be, rather than just, you know, rush it out to hit some arbitrary shareholder goal. At the end of the day, the share price shouldn't matter as much as the art. And I will have more respect for Take-Two if they let their share price drop in order to make a banger than if they just release something not up to par just to hit some shareholder goal. I will have so much respect for Take-Two if they do that. But again, I am someone who doesn't care about delays because my backlog is endless. I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance yet. I also started a new save on Cyberpunk and The Witcher. I've also been wanting to play Fallout 76 again. I haven't finished everything I want to do in Valheim. There's so much stuff that I want to play that I don't care if games get delayed. Delay every fucking game. Let me get through my backlog for a bit, man. Like, my backlog is just insane. I don't know what you guys' backlog is like, but I honestly do not care if games get delayed. Because I've got games I want to play for days. I haven't finished Hollow Knight yet. You know, we've got Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out. I want to play through that again. I haven't finished Silent Hill 2 yet. There's just so much to play, and I just don't care if a game gets delayed, man. So, yeah, I don't know. Jordy Mess says, I'm getting the blame for you putting out an uber gay OnlyFans. Bro, there's nothing gay about my OnlyFans. It's just, there's nothing more heterosexual than than pure hairy masculinity. There's nothing more heterosexual than that. You know, it doesn't have to be gay. You know, you can admire a hairy guy. You know, maybe. I don't know. I'm not an expert in this field. We need to ask Owen. Oh man, I need the sound effect, man. I need the Oblivion sound effect when oh, whenever Oh No It's Alex says something like dodgy, he pops the Oblivion music. I don't have a soundboard, but that's what I'll be playing right now. Fucking hell. I'm gonna get Rand demonetized, man. I keep forgetting I'm on Rand's channel. I can't say this kind of shit, man. I can't say this kind of shit. What is the saying? It's only gay if the balls touch, man. That was the saying. It's only gay if the balls touch. The balls don't touch, it's not gay. It's not gay, guys. That's what I've heard. That's what, you know, that's what I've heard for years. It's, you know, it's completely like it's only gay if the balls touch. That's right, right? That's right, guys? Guys? Is anyone still here? Big Night Like Dog says, are you drinking a white Russian, Jed? Yes, I am. Well, actually, it's a white Swedish because we're drinking Swedish vodka, not Russian vodka. Dark Fox says, wasn't it the socks being on? Yeah, it's only gay if the socks are off and the balls touch. So as long as you've got socks on and the balls don't touch, it's not gay. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, man. For real, bro. It's not gay. It's for real. Try it. Try it yourself, but, you know, with a condom. Practice safe sex, of course. But it's not gay if the ball's not touched, man. It's completely fine. Fuck. Anyways, um, anyways, back on topic. We've got Panda Man 77. Yeah, it's not gay if it's with the homies. Yeah, it's fine. You know, you gotta kiss your homies. Good, you know, good night, right? It's fine. Fucking hell. I'm so glad Rand's not here right now. What am I doing to Rand's channel? I'm ruining Rand's channel. I'm ruining Rand's channel. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Rand. This is what happens when you're not here. If you're not here, this is what happens. It's like we start talking about testicles and shit. You know, it's chat. Really, it's not my fault. It's chat. I'm doing my best to keep things in topic. It's chat bringing up all this shit, talking about body hair and stuff. It's not my fault. I'm doing my best here, bro. You know, it's chat making it weird. You guys, man. Okay, so yeah, let's get back on topic. Focus. Focus. Pandaman77 says, "Hello, guys. Hopefully, Rand can find some peace during this time. Yes, indeed. Although he won't find any peace if he watches this episode back. I don't see the model working on next-gen hardware. I've been playing Ark Raiders on Steam, and the number of players that move to PC is crazy. Jez, what games in your catalog prevent you from fully moving to Steam full-time? I don't actually believe libraries prevent people from moving platforms." You know, Panda Man, I agree to some degree. Like, I've actually been looking for an app that will map my Xbox library to Steam and then let me know when I've actually got content that's on sale, because I don't hate the idea of moving fully to Steam, but at the same time, I just love my Xbox. I love the experience of turning the console on and instantly getting into a game. PC, like it or not, there's hoops to jump through with PC. And I think one of my play style on PC is kind of like almost a Gen Z kind of thing, where I want my PC for multitasking. So oftentimes when I'm playing PC or playing games on my Xbox, which is on a separate platform, like my TV's here next to my PC and my second monitor. Like usually what happens is I do multiple things at once. So like I'll be playing a game on my TV while watching a YouTube video, while I've got Discord open or Slack or something else, or doing some work, you know. Or sometimes playing 2 games at once. Sometimes I play two games at once, which is just nuts, right? But I realized that I'm not the mainstream. I do really like Steam, and I do have a ton of games on Steam. I think I own like 1,000 Steam games, but I don't play very much on Steam. I usually like buy games on Steam when they're on sale, in case I eventually do want to move over to Steam full time. And I actually know a lot of people who have moved over to Steam full time, like because of the Steam Deck. Actually, like the Steam, for a lot of people sort of my age in their 30s and 40s who are having kids now, they've discovered the Steam Deck as a panacea for them. And it's like, I'm going to play more and more games on the Steam Deck because now my kids have taken over the TV. So they've moved over to Steam because of that fact. Which is why I think like Microsoft was a bit late to the whole handheld arena, potentially, especially when it comes to pricing and stuff like that. So I do think I'm not against Steam at all. I've got a ton of Steam games. But I'm not a big fan of PC gaming. I don't like jumping through the extra hoops, and I don't like the fact that PC games take over my computer, take control of the mouse. I just like to keep things separate. And I know like it's really dumb because all you need to do is Alt Tab to get your control of your mouse back. But I just like the ability to do both at the same time. And I could buy a second PC. I could just, you know, I could just plug my ROG Ally into the TV. But I just enjoy my Xbox. I just enjoy turning my Xbox on and the games instantly load, and the convenience, the cloud saves, and the ability to take them to my ROG if I want to, and it's fine for what it is. Like, that's the main reason I'm still on Xbox. I just enjoy it. But I don't begrudge people who move to Steam because Steam has kind of perfected the ecosystem that Microsoft wants to build, which is this theory of like play anywhere. If you've got a Steam game, you can play it anywhere as long as you've got like the device plugged into the screen you want to use it on. But I just still like my Xbox, man. It just works. I don't have to jump through hoops. I don't have to deal with crashing. Games that run on Xbox are generally like, and yeah, Dark Fox in chat says quick resume is such a blessing. Like, quick resume, I love quick resume, and I also just all my save files are there. Like, I'm an Xbox guy, you know, and I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the same time, the other day, I just got I think I said this on Xbox 2+1. I did get a hankering to play for some random reason. I just felt like playing Binding of Isaac. I was like, I really want to play Binding of Isaac. Binding of Isaac is not available on the Xbox PC app. So I ended up getting, well, I already owned it on Steam. So I ended up playing it on Steam. You know, there's a lot of games that I wish were on Xbox PC, which just aren't available. And you can only get them either via cloud or remote play, which is fine, but I'd rather have native. I'd rather not think like, oh, this game needs the internet to run, you know. Steam is fantastic, but there's just nothing wrong with my Xbox, you know. I just wish there was more games coming. And I prefer Xbox. So I'd rather see Xbox grow than I'd rather move to Steam. But there might be a point where I'm just like, I can't be bothered to wait any longer. You know, maybe now's the time to just give up and move to Steam. And there are plenty of people doing that. My brother's done that. A lot of my friends have done that. Someone in chat said Ecstasis has done that. He's moved to Steam full time. But I'm still happy with my Xbox experience, man. There's more games to play on Xbox and Xbox Play Anywhere than I physically have time for. You know. If you're watching the video, here's my Xbox Ally. I use this almost every day, or at least every other day. I love this thing. It's fantastic. I've played at least half of my Fallout 4 playthrough on this device. It's amazing. I got the kill switch cover with the kickstand. I love it. And I'm traveling to Germany on Monday, and the whole time I'm on the train and on the plane, I'm gonna be playing on the Xbox Ally. I just love that shit, man. And the thing I like about the Xbox Ally is, the thing I really love about the Xbox Ally is that it doesn't lock me to a single store. And I know, like, on Steam, you can get Genshin Impact Launcher and you can get Riot Client. You can jump through those hoops to get it working. I know this is going to trigger Dark Fox. Sorry, mate. But I don't want to have to bother with all that shit just to get the basics working. I just want it to just work. And it just works on Xbox Ally because I'm lazy. I'm lazy, man. I just want that shit to work, you know. So I'm going to put up a poll. I'll put up the poll in chat on YouTube, and I'll also put up the poll on Spotify. Are you still on Xbox as your main platform? I'll put up this poll, and you guys can let me know in chat what you think about this. Oh yeah, I don't know. It just works, man, and I just want that experience. I just want to be lazy. I just want to be lazy in life, you know. And I know Xbox wants to be lazy in life too. Xbox wants that experience as well, you know, for better or worse. Oh yeah. Next question. We've got. Blah, 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 blah. Bear with me one moment. Just getting up the Xbox 2 chat. Yeah, so If you guys haven't done already, please smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're still pushing for Rand. All the super chats go straight through on Rand's YouTube channel. Because Rand's dealing with some pretty dark stuff right now, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah. Next question is from Shay Elephant says, Jez, an Xbox Era show earlier this week, you made a guess that the next CEO of Xbox will likely be Amy Hood, and Xbox will be truly dead if that happens. In that scenario, which company do you think will be the best for Xbox to be sold to? Shay, did I say Amy Hood? I think I was kind of joking when I said Amy Hood would be the CEO of Xbox. What I said was, I think the next CEO of Xbox is most likely going to be Sarah Bond. I think Sarah Bond will succeed Phil. But what I also said was, I think Johanna Faries, who currently runs Blizzard, I think she will eventually be the CEO of Xbox. Johanna Faries is younger than me, which makes me depressed. But she's like running Blizzard right now to fantastic capacity. She's popular within Blizzard, and she's also delivering on all the goals, on all the fronts, and she's organized Blizzard in a way that companies been desperately in need of for a long time. So I do think Sarah Bond will be the next CEO of Xbox. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Dumb thing. You made a guess that the next CEO of Microsoft would likely be Amy Hood. Sorry, Microsoft, not Xbox. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I said like Amy Hood will be the next CEO of Microsoft. That makes more sense. Sorry, I misread your question there. So, I mean, I don't know for sure if Amy Hood would be the CEO, but I do think like if Amy Hood became the CEO of Microsoft all up, replacing Satya Nadella, she will just be obsessed with the bottom line and just hate consumers in general. In this scenario, which company do you think would be best for Xbox to be sold to? I don't think Amy Hood would sell Xbox in that scenario, but I do think she would force Microsoft into even more ridiculous sort of targets and stuff like that. I think we'll see a doubling down of microtransactions and live service. And I think probably in that scenario, Phil would probably walk out, and then we'll end up seeing someone who will placate Amy Hood, maybe Sarah Bond or something like that. But at the same time, like, would it really be Amy Hood, or would it be someone external? Maybe someone else within the company? I think if Microsoft's future is artificial intelligence, for better or worse, maybe it's someone from the AI universe who becomes CEO, maybe Sam Altman, maybe even someone like that. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, Xbox has Minecraft, Xbox has Minecraft, Xbox has a ton of other companies within its purview that kind of preclude being sold off. Like Xbox makes a ton of money at the end of the day. And I think when it makes so much money, I think Amy Hood is still on the hook to make sure Xbox is a success story and not just like a footnote in a spreadsheet, I don't know. We've got a super chat here, $20 US. Thank you so much from Adam Refriended. Says, hi Jez. Have you heard anything about Microsoft or Xbox Studios tweaking their culture or trying to make the most of current changes among gamers? Like everyone is craving AAA vibe from 360 day. I don't know if people are craving the AAA vibe. Like if you look at the trends, like the most played games are Fortnite, Call of Duty, Minecraft. People just want to play service games. Like if you actually look at the actual data and not just social media, people want to play service games, So that's where the trends are. I don't know if people want AAA games. I think people just want like Kim Kardashian skins in Fortnite. Like when I saw the Kim Kardashian skin in Fortnite, I was like, oh my God, nobody's going to buy this. But it's the most bought skin of all time. So it's like, how out of touch am I? Thinking that the Kim Kardashian skin wouldn't fucking sell. And it's the fastest selling skin of all time. What the fuck, man? Like how like out of touch am I thinking that the Kim Kardashian skin wouldn't sell? And I think that's really like what you've got to ask yourselves. Like, are we still the target market? Is Gen Z and Gen Alpha now not just leading the charge? Is not like Minecraft and Call of Duty skins and Fortnite skins and Rocket League and all this kind of stuff. Is that not leading the business? And the kind of games we want to play, us guys want to play, maybe we're just not with it anymore. Maybe we're not cool, man. We're not cool anymore, guys. 6, 7. We're not cool, man. We're not cool, man. We're not cool anymore, guys. We're not with it. We're old and we're drunk. We're old and we're drunk. That's the main thing. Cody Bishop, 7526 with the 499. Thank you so much. Did you hear how Microsoft is testing adding Copilot to File Explorer sidebar just so they can claim 100% usage to the shareholder? I did not hear that, but it wouldn't shock me. One thing that really bugs me about Microsoft these days is just the Copilot integrations with everything. Luckily, you can turn them all off. So, like, the other day, I was trying to use OneNote for something, and there was a Copilot button there. I was like, for fuck's sake, do I need another Copilot button? You can go into settings and you can turn it off. Great. But it's like, how long are they going to let me turn it off for? Eventually, they're probably not going to let you turn it off. It's painful because it's not actually good. If it was good, it'd be a different thing, but it's not good. Like, the other day, I used Copilot to make some graphs, some charts for an article I was writing, but it took like 10 minutes for me to get it to understand exactly what I wanted. And I was sitting there thinking, would it have not been faster for me to have just fucking done this with Excel and made my own chart? You know, would it have been less time? Like, it's not even good. Maybe one day it'll be good, but right now it's just not very good. I actually I had a call with someone emailed me because I wrote an article saying that I wrote an article about how shitty Microsoft's AI is, right? And someone reached out to me from a law firm and they were like, actually, AI is great. We want to show you how we're using it. And I was like, okay, I'll have an open mind and I'll see how they're using it. And they showed me how they're using AI in their legal department. I was just like, I was sitting there thinking like, I'm not that impressed with this shit. They were using it to like rank applications for a job and stuff like that. And I was sitting there thinking, I wouldn't want AI to rank applications for me. I would want to do it for myself. I'd want to go through those applications myself. I wouldn't want AI to rank that shit. Because what if because I know how shit AI is at sometimes doing this kind of thing, you know. It's almost like the whole AI thing revolves around tricking people into thinking it's good, when actually it's just shit. I haven't found a genuinely good use for AI yet. Beyond the one thing I use AI for is converting a table into HTML quickly, because our CMS only supports HTML tables. And rather than write down the table tag and do the HTML myself, which I know how to do, it's faster to ask AI to do it for me. So like convert this table to HTML. It's the only thing I've found it useful for. But even then, there are websites before all this AI bullshit which would do that for you anyway. You know, and this shit costs $15 million a day to run. They're not making any money on it. It just feels like so I sit there like asking myself, like, am I just biased or cynical? Or are they crazy? I don't know if I'm out of touch or if, because there's so much money being poured into this shit. And for me, it's just like, it's all shit. None of it is good. I feel like I'm crazy. I'm taking crazy pills, you know. And I wrote in my article, Satya Nadella is definitely smarter than me. But why does it seem like he's dumber than me? Like, he can't think any of this shit is good. Why are they pushing this stuff? I don't get it, man. Mm. Marditus88 with the ARS 200. I don't know what currency that is. You'll have to let me know. He says, sending good vibes for Rand. Jez, would you consider moving to PlayStation if Xbox Magnus fails to nail the console experience? That would leave us PlayStation as the only high-performance console experience. I would never consider PlayStation, and I'll tell you why. I don't own anything on PlayStation. Everything I own is on Xbox, and the vast majority of what I own on Xbox well, not a vast majority, but a significant portion of what I own on Xbox is also Xbox Play Anywhere, which means it runs on PC. So if Xbox failed and completely exited stage left, I wouldn't go to PlayStation. I would go to PC. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. I don't think people are going to leave Xbox for PlayStation. I think people are going to leave Xbox for PC platforms, you know, personally speaking. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Maybe chat, you can let me know. But after 189 votes in chat, are you still on Xbox as your main platform? 63% say yes, 37% say no. So, you know, there are people who are moving off the platform, but personally for me, like I can afford a PC. I've already got a good gaming PC with a 4070. I wouldn't consider PlayStation because I've just never been on PlayStation. Like, and I've already got half a foot in the door with with regards to Steam, Windows Central. We already cover Steam. I don't see any reason to go to PlayStation whatsoever. PlayStation is launching its games on Steam. Like, what reason would there be to buy a PlayStation? I literally don't know. You know, I put it with the idiosyncrasies on PC rather than buy a PlayStation. Red Hat Rogue says with the $5, well wishes to round into you too, Jez. Have you heard anything that Life is Strange reunion Peggy leak? Will that show up later at the Dev Direct? I haven't heard anything about that, I'm afraid. I haven't followed Life is Strange reunion. Will that show up at the Dev Direct? I personally don't think so. I don't think it'll be there, but I haven't heard either way, so maybe it will. We'll find out, man. We'll find out. Let's get back to Patreon. Patrock says, Jez, do you prefer brats or bangers? And what kind of mustard do you like on your bratwurst? I don't know, man. I like bangers. I do like me some bangers. And mustard. I'm not a huge mustard guy, man. I have to admit, I don't hate mustard, but whatever mustard is available, I guess. Colonel's mustard is the one in the UK, you know. But I honestly, I'm not a big mustard guy. I don't eat mustard very often. Oh, interesting. You have to let me know if there's a particular brand of mustard I should check out, man. A lot of opinions about AI in chat, man. A lot of opinions about AI. Falsap guy says the current AI LLMs is really young in terms of technology, still needs to find its way. Give it another 10 or 20 years. I do agree to some degree, but at the same time, I'm thinking like my issue with LLMs, and I don't want to get too philosophical here, but LLMs revolves entirely around human-made content. LLMs don't produce any original thought or any original thinking. It's just basically regurgitating what's already out there. The fact that AI can't come up with an original thought is a huge fucking issue. And it's something that Sam Altman and the investors seem to really gloss over when it comes to AI. The fact that it can't come up with anything original, for me, is a huge red flag. If AI can't come up with anything original, it's not truly AI. And for me, I think AI is the biggest financial scam in history. What it does is it tricks humans like a parrot. Dark Fox calls it a parrot. Yeah, it's a parrot. It tricks humans into thinking it's smart by regurgitating algorithmically content that's already out there. And when you actually sit there and actually consider, like, can AI function without human inputs? The answer is fucking no. It cannot. The fact that it can't come up with anything original is a huge issue. And it makes the fact that it's called AI a misnomer. And if it's a misnomer and it's not actually intelligent, then we have a huge problem because there are billions, trillions of dollars invested in this technology, which all it can do is mirror and parrot existing human-made content. And in that universe, is it not a bubble? For me, it absolutely fucking is a bubble. All they've done is repackaged the human-made internet and took the ads out and repackaged the ads And AI and OpenAI and Google are about to put ads back into the AI algorithms and stuff. So soon when you use Gemini or OpenAI or ChatGPT, you will get ads. Basically, what they've done is they've stolen the internet. They've stolen the human-made internet and repackaged it in a way where they don't have to pay content creators. The thing is, that's a short-term solution. Eventually, AI will need more human input in order to survive. And I think when, you know, humans get put out of a job and AI incest starts being a serious issue, this whole idea of model death, where AI is just regurgitating its own produced content repeatedly, then we end up in a situation where, oh shit, actually AI is a load of bollocks. And all this money we've got invested is a black hole. So I do think there is going to be hitting a wall. There's going to be a wall, and there's going to be a huge reckoning. There's going to be a black hole where all this money just gets vacuumed up. And what I think is genuinely, I think Sam Altman is a con man. And if you actually look into Sam Altman's history, he's got a history of selling bullshit technology and then exiting stage left when people realize it's bullshit. If you've ever heard of Theranos, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's a Polymarket bet that says when will Sam Altman end up in jail? I'm not convinced this AI thing is actually a thing. But we'll see. We'll see. You know. We'll see what happens. Next question. Next question is from Nitram. Hi, Jez. CD Projekt Red has a track record of delivering massive, high-quality expansions like Blood and Wine and Phantom Liberty. Do you think we'd expect the same level of scale for the rumored upcoming DLCs for The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk? So, there is a big rumor right now that Witcher 3 has another expansion coming. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there is supposedly another expansion for Witcher 3 coming. I personally don't have any sources of CD Projekt Red. Well, I do, but none that would actually like confirm or deny it. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the case. I think it would be a good way for them to make some money in between releases, and people would show up in droves to play a Witcher 3 DLC, personally. So, there's a lot of noise and a lot of rumor and conjecture about the fact that Witcher 3 will have another expansion. I honestly don't know if it would be on the quality of Blood and Wine or Phantom Liberty, but for me, CD Projekt doesn't miss. And I know Xbox One and PS4 version of Cyberpunk were broken at launch, but Cyberpunk was fantastic. I played Cyberpunk on PC at launch, and I absolutely loved it. I think CD Projekt Red doesn't miss, and you know, I think I don't think they put out something low quality, man. I'm pretty excited for that shit. He also says the backlash to Schreier Vink's interview highlights a deep fear of AI slop ruining immersion. However, do you think AI in the future can be used more creatively to enable, an example, emergent NPC behavior or more dynamic world building? Or is AI destined to make games feel hollow? That's a good question. I mean, I just went on a rant about AI. Do I think AI could be used to enhance gameplay? One of the issues with the AI in general is the bottleneck. It costs so much money. It costs a ton of money to run. So if you are tapping into a large language model in order to enable your model to actually understand things, it costs a ton of money. And I don't think any developer would really want to pay for the API tickets or the what do they call it? The credits. I don't think a developer would want to pay for the AI credits in order to deliver that shit, to some degree. But even like low-level AIs, which are sort of more free, or even like local AI, like if they put like a small language model on a device that has an NPU, like presumably the next Xbox has an NPU, right? Even for like its upscaling and things like that. And you can run local models on local hardware. Like the Xbox Ally is an NPU, for example, and we are going to see some graphical enhancement stuff on the Xbox Ally. very soon. Um, but I don't know, man. I do think AI has a role to play in the future of game development, whether people like it or not, whether it's like AI generated assets. I personally don't have an issue with a company using AI to generate like grass textures or something dumb like that. I personally don't have an issue, but I also understand the concern that it eliminates entry level jobs into the ecosystem. Like if you want like a junior artist, typically you will put them on something like working on um you put them on making grass textures or like, bullshit textures for non-incidental aspects. If you replace those junior positions with artificial intelligence, then you're potentially like eventually eliminating higher level positions. So I do think AI is genuinely a slippery slope, and it's a debate that needs to be had. But there must be like ways that AI can be used to enhance things. Like I think it probably could be used more in voiceover work. And I mean like when you're creating a character. So if I'm creating a character in Fallout or Oblivion and I want the character to be called Jez, for example, or I want the character to be called, I don't know, Kamana Tong in chat, for example, it's not likely that we will expect a developer to pay for every single permutation of the English language, popular English language names, right? But what if I could take the voice actor's voice and then use it to add my name to the game using a large language model or like, an algorithmic voice model? It doesn't necessarily even need to be AI at that point. Like Microsoft had voice models even before AI was a thing. I think that's kind of like a good use of AI to put your name in the game, to personalize the content, you know. But it's a slippery slope, isn't it? The more you use AI, the more you replace human workers, the more you replace voice actors, so on and so forth, the more you will upend the global economy. So it's a debate that needs to be had, I suppose. It needs to be a tool that's used in a responsible capacity, if indeed it is something useful. Um, but at the same time, it could just fuck up everything and lead to the Terminator. I don't know. The apocalypse! Yeah! The next question is from Silas. Hello, Jez. I've always wondered what types of articles on Windows Central get the most traffic. Are there more readers on good Xbox news or bad Xbox news? There's definitely more readers on bad Xbox news. My biggest article of all time was Scalebound being cancelled. I got that exclusively. Scalebound was cancelled. It was my biggest article of all time to this day. I think it got something like 500,000 views, like 500,000 views, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, negative news always does more traffic. But the number one traffic for Windows Central has always been, how do I do this on Windows? A how-to guide for Windows. That is the number one traffic driver on Windows Central. Like, how do I do this on Windows? Like a how-to guide of random things on Windows. But artificial intelligence is really eating into that business. So the more people that use AI to answer those kind of questions really hurts Windows Central and other websites that rely on guides. But it is what it is. The industry changes, and then either you change with it or you die. So, we're trying to figure out ways to keep the lights on right now in a universe where nobody's clicking on guides anymore. And either we'll figure it out or we'll die, and that is what it is. Because Microsoft and OpenAI has stolen all that content, and there's nothing we can do about it. Mm. Jeremiah in chat says, what happened to Project Mara? So, if you didn't read my Xbox 2026 preview, Project Mara was actually never a thing. Project Mara was always just a concept. It was never actually a game. Maybe one day it will be a game, but right now, Ninja Theory is working on a single project. From what I believe it to be Hellblade 3, more combat oriented and more interactive than Hellblade 1 or 2. I believe it to be Hellblade 3. Might not be Hellblade 3, but it's definitely not Project Mara. which is just a concept. But maybe one day they will make Project Mora. It's something they've got in their sort of. It's something they've got in the sort of in the catalog. Something that can come back to someday, maybe. Next question is from Jimmy1984. Hi, Jez. I really liked your article on when essential about Xbox's plans for 2026 and 2027. I read that New Age of Empires could be in the development with the Unreal Engine. Sounds like Age of Empires could be one of the most important IP on Xbox. About this New Age of Empires, do you think it could be announced during the Xbox showcase? Do you hear something about it? Which setting, modern or ancient fantasy? Which studio is currently developing? Thanks a lot, my friend, and have a nice day. Jimmy, I honestly don't know a great deal about the next Age of Empires. But I will say this: it is being developed on Unreal Engine, I think, because one of the big issues they had with Age of Empires 4, I heard, was Relic's engine. Like Relic's engine and development pipeline was very difficult for them to work with and to adapt to the Age of Empires, what people expect from Age of Empires. So they're moving to something more proprietary, built on a Unreal Engine though, but something more custom and things like that. I don't know who's building it, but at least the bones are being made by World's Edge Studios. I would presume that they're going to partner with another developer on it. But yeah, Age of Empires remains one of Microsoft's most prolific IPs, and they've really cornered that niche, the whole real-time strategy niche, which is, it's not the most, it doesn't have the same popularity that it did back in the day. But as Xbox moves deeper into PC gaming, I do think like Age of Empires and games like Age of Empires are definitely going to be a major part of their purview. So I do believe the rumors that it will be Unreal Engine based, purely based on what I've heard about the difficulties they had working with the Relics engine, and but I don't know much about the setting and that kind of stuff. Another thing I'll say, by the way, is that they are interested in also bringing StarCraft back as an RTS. Although the next StarCraft I expect will be the third-person shooter, which I've actually seen gameplay footage of the next StarCraft. It looks fucking amazing. So if you enjoy games like Space Marine, like, boy howdy, I think like StarCraft developers, I think StarCraft fans are going to have a lot to look forward to. Like, supposedly the rumor is that the Far Cry director is leading the charge on the StarCraft shooter, but I have heard that they want to bring back StarCraft as an RTS as well. So watch this space, man. This is like kind of like one of the things I talked about recently in my article about Xbox being the shooter box, is that Microsoft and Sony too, like they want to corner and become known for specific genres. Like Sony's cornered things like the single player RPG and the single player action adventure game, whereas like Microsoft cornered things like racing games and RTS, and Sony's cornered things like fighting games, and Nintendo's cornered things like the younger audience and stuff like that. Microsoft obviously wants to continue cornering the real-time strategy audience. So in that universe, StarCraft RTS makes complete sense to me. But yeah, Age of Empires is still a big deal for Microsoft, and it's going to come back in a big way. Starting with the shooter. Matt says, looking ahead for this year, what's your most anticipated? Or are there any games you think might have a breakout success like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, Clair Obscur? Always curious what's on your radar. Yes, Jez, give us a list. What are your top 5? And this is Nitram. What are your top 5 games of the year in 2025? And which 5 games you're most excited for in 2026? That's a good question. I don't have lists of games launched. I don't have a list of games launching in 2026 off the top of my head. Obviously, I'm intrigued about Fable. I want to see if Fable can really land and stuff like that. I'm also like Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy from the developers of Rogue Trader. I was really looking forward to, but I'm not sure if that's even launching this year. There's man, obviously Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I'm very looking forward to. There's also Replaced. I'm looking forward to Replaced a lot. Monster Hunter Stories 3, which I think is Xbox Play Anywhere off the top of my head. I'm looking forward to that. Mouse PI for Hire, which is an indie game I'm looking forward to. There's also a Diablo expansion, which I'm looking forward to. World of Warcraft expansion. I kind of want to check out Code Vein as well. Like Code Vein, I haven't played Code Vein 1, but Code Vein 2 looks really good. So that makes me want to go back and check out Code Vein 1. Maybe we check out Code Vein this year. And then there's like, I think there's like tons of other stuff. 007, you know. Let me know in chat what games you're looking forward to in 2026 because I can't remember a lot of it off the top of my head. Mm. But there's just so much to play. Like a lot of the games that I want to play in 2026 are games that launched in 2025. Like my backlog is real. I still haven't finished Hollow Knight. I still want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance. There's so many games that like I'm just I'm interested in going backwards to play rather than forwards, you know. I don't know. But let me know in chat, guys, in chat, please let me know what games you're looking forward to in 2026. Let me know. What else we got here? What else we got? So, Blood of the Dawnwalker. Yeah, Dawnwalker was a good game I was intrigued about. That's made by the Witcher developers. Like, if the Witcher 3 expansion is truly real, I'm very intrigued about that. There's rumors of a new Metro game. Gears of War E-Day, of course. High and Life 2. Crimson Desert. Now, Crimson Desert, I actually played Crimson Desert Gamescom. And I have to say, playing Crimson Desert kind of put me off it. Crimson Desert is made by MMORPG developers, and for me, it didn't play very well. Like I felt like the controls were like ridiculously overcomplicated. Like you had to like it's almost like playing a fighting game. Like, and I was just like, I can't be bothered to learn all these different. Like you needed like a huge button combination to do like the most basic things, which really irritated me for some reason. But maybe they'll fix some of that stuff and take some of that feedback because I'm pretty sure a lot of other people felt the same way about it. It's quite toasty, says Pragmata. Yeah, I played Pragmata at Gamescom as well. Pragmata is fucking amazing. Really, I'm intrigued about Pragmata and like how well that's gonna land. Pragmata was weirdly Pragmata was weird. It was like it was very intuitive. So it's a shooter, but also a puzzle game, like an active puzzle game. Like during the combat, you like have to do these like sort of hacking puzzles. And I was thinking like, there's no way this will work, but it really fucking worked. And it was really amazing, actually. I was really impressed with Pragmata. It was really cool. So Pragmata's up there for me. Nitram says Half-Life 3. There's always that, isn't there? Like, will there be a new Half-Life? Maybe, baby. I don't know, man. We'll see. Someone in chat says, Jez, any news about Elite 3 or new standards on controllers? So, one thing I have heard is that we should see an Xbox Elite controller Series 3 this year. I don't know when, but yeah, the Series 3 is a real thing and it is coming. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I would presume it's this year based on the fact that I'm hearing rumors about it now. So the Elite Series 3 is going to have like direct to Wi-Fi connectivity, which means you won't have to connect to a device to play cloud games. It'll be more like Stadia, which is one of the cool innovations that Stadia had was that your controller connected to the Wi-Fi directly, which eliminated like an extra layer of lag. So it should help your cloud gaming experience feel more native. So that's one of the things that I expect from that. But like, will it have haptics? Will it have the share button? Will it have like, what are the color enhancements in that? Because one of the things that really bugs me, right, is that I really love the Elite controllers. But one of the issues that Elite controllers have is that the bumper always breaks. So I've got the Witcher 3 Elite controller here. I absolutely love the Elite controller purely because it's always got full battery. You just set it into the dock and it always has a full charge. And the batteries in these things are really high quality and they last forever. I absolutely love that about the Elite controller. But I've broken 3 of them. Playing Souls-like games, you can absolutely knacker the right bumper. And the bumper's like, I don't know why, like the plastic just seems overly susceptible to wear and tear. So like maybe they'll fix some of that stuff with the next Elite. I would hope so. And also, I wouldn't say no to like TMR sticks or like what's it called now? Hall effect sticks. Like, there's Hall effects in there, there's TMR, anti-drift kind of sticks. I wouldn't say no to some of that stuff, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's gonna have haptics. I know that haptics were a thing for the next gen Xbox standard controllers, but I don't know if it's gonna be in the Elite controller for this gen. And finally, for the Patreon Q&A, we've got Vito, who says, let me just have a look. Vito says, "What the hell is Beast of Reincarnation? Do you think there'll be any other titles besides those three?" So I did say on the show that I do think that Kiln from Double Fine will be there. But Kiln from Double Fine is like kind of like a brawler kind of game where you make clay fighters and then I don't know, like a PvP kind of brawler kind of physics game. I think that'll be there. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. Beast and Reincarnation, they showed that off at the Xbox Showcase, I think. It looks like an action RPG, like kind of Souls-like kind of game from Game Freak, the publisher behind Pokemon. It looks far better than Pokemon though. So, I don't know if it's a true Souls-like or it's just something like in the vein of a Souls-like an action RPG and stuff like that. But that's what that is. There's a trailer up on YouTube, so definitely go and check that out. We'll see how it is, but I do think there's going to be more than those three games. I do think there's going to be more than Fable, Forza, and also Beast in Reincarnation. I do think there'll be more than that, but we'll certainly find out very, very soon. But that's all the Patreon Q&As. I think we're done now. Is there any other super chats that I've missed? I'll have a quick look. No, I think we're done for super chats. Is there any super chats I've missed? I don't think so. But yeah, I think that's gonna be the show for now. Like I mentioned, like Ran's going through it right now, so if you get time, go and send Ran some well wishes. And like I said, any super chats that have gone through on this show go 100% to Rand. I don't know if I'll be flying solo again next week, but thank you for your patience in like the disruption with the show. Rand's obviously going through some tough times right now, so shout out to Rand. Hopefully things, hopefully we can get back to normal soon, but family comes first, always, of course. Thanks to everyone from the Xbox 2 universe. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring the show. Go and check those guys out, surfshark.com/XB2 for 8% off a great 2-year plan. And yeah, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/XB2. And thanks to all you guys for sticking with us. Xbox has had tough times and don't know for sure if Xbox is going to pull through with its next gen plans. But I'm personally intrigued to find out. I'm a big Xbox Play Anywhere gamer. I'm enjoying the Xbox Ally. So if Microsoft can nail the polish for me, I think that's really ultimately the underscore for me. Like, can they nail the polish? Can they improve the speed of the systems? Can they improve the responsiveness of the Xbox PC app? Can they improve the amount of developer support that these platforms get? Because right now, like, I've purchased every single Xbox Play Anywhere game I could ever possibly want to own, and there's not a ton of organic support. Like, one of the things that we're kind of hoping for is that Xbox Resident Evil 8 will be Xbox Play Anywhere, because Resident Evil 8 is coming to Game Pass this month, sorry. Resident Evil 8 is coming to Game Pass this month. So we'll see if that ends up being Xbox Play Anywhere, but I do think Xbox has set itself a very big challenge. To really crack the PC market, it's not a surefire thing. Steam is so dominant on when it comes to actually being a store. Steam is so dominant, and can Xbox really crack that? I saw some data recently where it was like the Epic Game Store has grown almost 200% year over year, but the sales have only grown like 1% because people just join the Epic Game Store just to get the free games. They don't actually buy anything from the Epic Game Store. And I think Microsoft kind of has created a similar issue with PC Game Pass. Like, yeah, maybe the PC store is growing, but people are only using it for PC Game Pass to get the free games. And in that universe, like, the developers actually support Xbox PC store organically? I don't know. There's so many questions that Xbox needs to answer this year, but we'll start getting the answers, I think, like, over the next couple of months. We'll see, like, a revamp to the Xbox PC store, which is also the next gen Xbox store, by the way. And we'll also see, new publishing rules announced at GDC. We'll also see, like, what Xbox has got cooking at the January Developer Direct, and then also the Xbox Showcase in June. It's an interesting year for Xbox, but I do think their plan is the right one. I think their heart's in the right place. It's just like, can they execute all this shit? And it'll be fun to find out. But I've been Jez for Windows Central and Xbox 2 podcast. Shout out to Rand. Hopefully we get Rand back on with us soon. Shout out to everyone at Xbox 2 Universe, whether you're on Patreon, Spotify, YouTube, or any of the other platforms, Apple Podcasts, and so on and so forth. We love you all. Thank you so much for your support. Leave us a review, smash the like button, and all that good stuff. And I will see you next week with or without Rand for the next Xbox 2 show. So thank you guys so much. And, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys.